Do you know that Boba Fett's fallen into the Sarlacc pit more than once? There's a Star Wars legend story where after escaping and spending some time outside, he actually goes back into his new home for a little afternoon nap. I'm going to tell you that story along with 10 other Boba Fett facts you might not have known. Hey everyone, it's Andrew. This is the tale of how Boba Fett escaped the Sarlacc and then fell right back in. So just after being swallowed by the Sarlacc, Jabba is killed, the sail barge explodes and the rebels flee. And then the Sarlacc burps out Boba Fett. He's lying unconscious in the sand until a bunch of Jawas begin looting the wreckage and come across Boba, similar to what happened in Book of Boba Fett. Except this time, they don't steal his armor, they think he's a droid, so they haul him aboard the Sandcrawler. Meanwhile, Han Solo's realized he's broke, and so has decided to return to Mos Eisley, remembering he has a bank account with a local branch. But it's frozen! He can't access his money because they thought he was dead. But luckily, R2 can help solve the error. But wait! Oh no, R2 has been stolen by the same Jawas who took aboard Boba Fett and mistook him for a droid. So Han and Leia go after the Sandcrawler on speeders. Meanwhile, Boba has woken up and completely lost his memory. Han eventually clambers aboard the Sandcrawler, finds R2, but then sees Boba and is shocked. How did Boba survive the Sarlacc? What's he doing here? And at first, because of the memory loss, Boba doesn't even recognize his most prized bounty. So Han gets Boba to help him escape through the top of the Sandcrawler, and sneaky Han's like, yeah, don't worry bro, I'll help you out in just a sec, just hand me that R2 unit first, then I'll give you a hand, I'll help you up, don't worry. Meanwhile, the Sandcrawler is now out of control and on a direct course towards the Sarlacc pit. Han feels guilty though, he can't just leave Boba here to die, so he reaches out his hand, but Leia keeps shouting Han's name, Han! Han, are you okay? Han, are you gonna survive? And Boba's like, Han? Solo? Boba takes aim and fires at Han. Han dives off the Sandcrawler, which crashes and plummets into the Sarlacc with Boba Fett inside. The Sandcrawler is swallowed along with Boba Fett. How big? Okay. Have you seen the size of the Sandcrawler compared to the Sarlacc? I don't know if it like opens its mouth like 10 times wider, but geez. But anyway, Boba's gone back inside to recommence being slowly digested over 1,000 years. It's a good life. This was from Star Wars 81, a comic book from 1983. Yes, it's a true story. You know that George Lucas actually said he would have made Boba Fett's death more exciting had he known Boba would become such a popular character.
His history has been told in the first trilogy. You know, it makes it even more of a misstep that we wouldn't make more out of the event of his defeat.
I mean, the guy only had 4 lines of dialogue in Empire Strikes Back, and yet he became such a phenomenon.
Boba Fett was just another one of the minions, another one of the bounty hunters and bad guys.
Saying that Boba was just another one of the minions and another bounty hunter hurts, man. What are you talking about? It's Boba Fett. But just think, had George killed Boba differently, the legend of the character wouldn't have been born. We wouldn't have the Book of Boba Fett. For nearly 40 years, people wouldn't have been speculating whether or not Boba escaped the Sarlacc. We all kind of knew he did though. At some point in the original trilogy's development, George was planning on making Boba the main villain of Return of the Jedi. This was when he envisioned Star Wars as a triple trilogy, which is kind of what we got now, I guess. But in this version, Luke's confrontation with Vader and the Emperor would not have occurred until films 7, 8, and 9. This is part of why Boba takes Han away at the end of Empire. He's the villain, he's taking him away, and he's going to be the big boss at the end, I guess. Although I think the chances of George going through with this idea were pretty slim, seeing as though he was just supposed to be a background minion bounty hunter. Mark Hamill had a crazy suggestion for the true identity of Boba Fett. Between the making of Empire and Return of the Jedi, Mark Hamill came up with the idea that Boba Fett could be revealed as Luke's mother. A few years back, he tweeted, "Then there was the time I pitched Boba Fett as Luke's mother. I've always been more than willing to generously share my many, many terrible ideas in the off chance we might stumble across one that could actually be useful. At the time, I didn't even know Leia was my sister, so clearly George already had his plans and his ideas, and he was like, Mark, please, leave the storytelling to me." But Mark thought it was the only way they could top Vader being my father. I envisioned her as a double agent working clandestinely for the rebels. Spoiler alert, he didn't like my idea. Did you know Boba Fett was originally going to be heavily involved in Revenge of the Sith and Order 66? According to the making of Star Wars Revenge of the Sith, Boba Fett was going to be the one to kill Mace Windu. As Mace was running away from a group of clones, Boba was going to take a shot with his blaster and actually kill Windu, which makes total sense, seeing as though we all know what happened to his dad and what, Windu did. But George Lucas eventually decided to scrap the idea as it made the film too long and clunky and didn't really tie in with Anakin's turn to the dark side. It was basically another side plot on top of everything already happening and, it was becoming too messy. I like to think this would have been in the rumored 4-hour cut of Revenge of the Sith though. Still hoping we one day get to see that. But Boba pursuing Windu was actually reworked into the Clone Wars, where Boba almost successfully kills Mace, but not quite. Did you know that one of the rarest, most highly valued Star Wars collectibles is a prototype Boba Fett action figure? Apparently, there's only a small handful in existence. This prototype was designed in 1978, 2 years before Empire released, and the reason it was just a prototype was because of its spring-loaded rocket, which was eventually deemed too dangerous for kids. You don't want to go shoot yourself in the eye. Hence why it never made it past the prototype stage and was completely discontinued. Now, every now and then, one of these goes up for sale. The last one I could find online went on eBay in 2020 for an asking price of $225,000. Hey man, who needs a Ferrari when you can get yourself an action figure? And if you can't afford the price tag but want to see what it looks like in real life, you can go see one in person on display at Rancho Obi-Wan, the world's largest collection of Star Wars memorabilia. Still yet to make it there, but one day. Did you know that Jeremy Bulloch, the actor who played Boba Fett in the original trilogy, could barely see out of Boba's helmet? But it wasn't so much the visor that was the problem, but breathing in it. It just started to mist up. I remember counting steps, 1, 2, 3, 4, go to your right. I had to count the steps I had because it's not easy to walk about. And when you breathe in, it just mists up. And yet, you have to try and look as cool as possible. Bulloch also talked about how he tripped on Darth Vader's cape because he could barely see. Man, this is worse than the sector is clear guy. See, no one in Star Wars can actually see out of these helmets. They're just there for intimidation. That's why Boba Fett fell in the Sarlacc. I mean, sure, he could try shooting Han and Luke from a distance and stay in safety, but he'd miss every shot. That's why he got up close and personal and suffered the fate he did. Poor bastard. A lot of people forget, even though Boba debuted in the Star Wars Holiday Special and then in Empire Strikes Back, he actually appears in A New Hope. Well, the special edition released in 1997 anyway, which is the one I grew up on, to be fair. You know that scene where Han talks to Jabba? Boba's there as part of Jabba's entourage, just chilling in the background, always watching, always. He's got his eyes everywhere. You can't see though. And in 1997, he was played by someone who'd never played Boba Fett, Mark Anthony Austin, a CGI artist who used to work for ILM and worked on the special editions. I guess on the day he just was one of the guys who fit the costume and they was like, yeah, you do it. Alright, here's a crazy fact about Boba Fett. Did you know that at one point during the development of the prequels, George Lucas thought about making Anakin and Boba step brothers, which is why they knew each other in Empire. I have no idea how this could ever make sense, but hey man, lots happening in George's big brain. Now I just want to see a series with all these what-if ideas. Did you know that Boba Fett's first appearance without a helmet as an adult didn't happen until 2006? And it wasn't on screen or in a comic or a game, it was an action figure. Hasbro's Titanium series included both Vader and Boba with removable helmets. And his appearance here is obviously based on Tamora Morrison's portrayal of Jango Fett in Attack of the Clones. However, in 1994, there was a trading card revealing Boba for the first time without a helmet, although it wasn't really considered his official appearance. It was more just like, hey, this is what Boba could look like, I guess. And Attack of the Clones obviously changed all of this once and for all. For me, the trading card goes a bit too far. I mean, he looks more like an angry elf than, Boba Fett. So, do you know any rare facts about Boba Fett? I'd love to hear them in the comments. Let me know. And if you're new here, come check out the Clips channel for daily memes and clips. And for more Star Wars, you can watch one of these videos here. And come follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and join my Discord for lots more Star Wars news and updates and everything else. And thanks for watching this. My name's Andrew. I'll catch you soon.
Stay bombastic.